Cristian, thanks so much for joining me on the Modern Soccer Coach podcast. Really excited to have you on.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure just to share this space and this time with you, of course.
Okay, first up, your coaching journey, you've got your licenses very, very early, but you didn't progress immediately into full-time roles. A lot of coaches get frustrated with that when they come out as a young coach, come out with their license or their degrees even, and expect to have a full-time job. And you went into a different area. You went into work in a bank. I was curious to know how that helped you become a more rounded coach, or did it?
Yeah, I think that when we finished the pro license, it was 2007, if I'm not wrong at all. And then a lot of colleagues, they were like, well, we've got the pro license, then let's just let's be sitting in the sofa and waiting for the calls from Chelsea, Milan, or Bayern Munich, no? And then I was thinking, like, look, that's not my point. I cannot be stopped. I need money also just to travel more, to know more, to exchange more. Well, I started. I had a financial background because the college, and then I started to work in a bank. In Spain, if you're not also in a big top club, it's really difficult to be on a full-time basis. It's not probably like England. Just only the big academies can afford full-time coaches. Then at the end, yeah, mainly it gives you, I think, another way of perspective. It gives you a lot of tools just to manage people in an office. You're selling services in football management. You need to sell ideas as a coach also. Then it's essential. If you are a bad seller, probably you're not going to have a long life as a coach. You need to convince the customer. You need to convince your players. I mean that is probably more it affected positively in the team management side, to make you to control, of course, budget ways. No, then it's like it makes you, if you work in a bank and you don't control the budget, you can have a few issues. But yeah, I think that it's more about organization, planning everything and reviewing. No, we're always just saying this about our training sessions, about our game model. Then do it on a daily basis on the bank scheme. Then it was like getting a routine, being organized and everything. It really helped me, but I was not conscious of it till late. I was not probably appreciating that the bank helped me a lot to become probably to work out this invisible side that coaches have.
We just talked before we started recording there about the landscape potentially of what it's going to look like, and it is something that I'm sure there's going to be an awful lot of qualified coaches come the end of this thing that are sitting frustrated and chomping at the bit to get involved in the game with limited opportunities. I mean, something that I haven't thought of before is in going into the bank or going into an area that you have a qualification in, or that you're successful in. It does keep the brain ticking. You are solving problems. You are dealing with people. Surely that's better than sitting at home getting annoyed on social media about the lack of opportunities.
Yeah, I think you need to feel active. And then at that time also, I remember that I was not on social media at all. It was when we finished our pro license that social media started and everything. Then we were like completely isolated. Never said better. And yeah, then it's like, I think it's about skills. And also when you become, then it's like when you have got any badge, when you become a doctor, when you become, I don't know, a manager, when you become something, you've got the right to act as but you have a lack of I used to call it flight hours, like flight experience as a pilot. No, then I'm a pilot, but then I'm not the same pilot than someone that is been flying for 20 years in commercial flights or in whatever. Then you need this, and then if you cannot access to this, you need to look for how to access and in which way. Then we were part-time, and well, I can explain to you that my journey was like, for example, having the pro license. I was working in a bank from 8 till 3 p.m. and then I had lunch in the bank, and then we started at 4 the pro license, and we were doing from 4 till 7 on a weekday. And at half 8 I had training in third division in Spain with CD Masnou, amateur side. Then I was just going from and also driving from one side to another one. Then I left home every day like 6:45, and I used to arrive like 11 o'clock p.m. Then, and I didn't realize that was a sacrifice, because at the end I was coaching. That is what I wanted. I knew it, that to pay my license and to afford absolutely everything, my car, petrol, insurance, I needed to work because I hadn't got a full time. Then it's like, I think that young coaches need to have really clear which is the target, and the target is to coach. If your target is to coach only on a Premier League first team, or on a top team, European top team level, American top team level, MLS, it's like, if this is your target, you need to realize that it's going to be much more difficult. Luckily for me, I'm really passionate about coaching. I don't really care to coach a first team in England in step 5 in the ninth division, or in a third division in Spain, or an under 19 in Finland, as I did. It's about to coach. Now I'm being stopped for a year and a half, and what I miss is to coach. It's not where. Then it's like, I'm not just refusing offers because no, just my target is to keep growing. And it's like, no one, you cannot control your growth, unluckily. I mean, it's good to see coaches that they are really young and then they are on top. That doesn't mean that you're less worth than them, and that doesn't mean probably that you have less knowledge than them. It's like, sometimes it's to be on the right position in the right moment, and then it's like, know someone, and also that things work well. Then at the end, the target should be, you want to become a football coach? Yes. Then it's like, that's fine, go for it. And then you need to feel passion to coach whatever the level you could reach and everything. If you're not really motivated to coach at any level, it's probably because, or your target are, like I said, a little bit unrealistic, or because you don't like to coach. Probably you like other things. Then you need to think about.
I spoke to a coach last week, and we were talking along similar lines. This great coaching phrase that we say, we're sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. And this was a guy that is managed in professional leagues, and you're sitting here saying the same thing. You're coming out of your pro license. There are coaches that are coming out of B licenses and then A licenses that are waiting for their phone to ring, but we can be sure to tell them that actually doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, what can you control? Then you can control your applications. You can control your batches journey. You can control your interviews, no, the site that you're offering to your interviews, the presentations that you're doing. You can control a lot from yourself. Things that you cannot control, mainly the decision of the people. I've been refused from a lot of interviews in the last year, from different levels, and hey ho, I mean, it's a way to learn. And then it's like, I could invest more time and more energy in things that I cannot control. Of course not. It's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy. I prefer to invest all this time and energy in myself and in the things that I think I can control. How? Improving myself, improving my connections, having more knowledge, traveling a little bit more, expanding my comfort zone. Then probably sometimes we need just to rewrite our script. And then it's like, you need to be realistic. Then it's like, I'm 36. I've been now, I was thinking, then it's like 20 years coaching, and sometimes for a lot of people it's not enough, because my CV sometimes is really impressive, sometimes not. That doesn't mean, it's like, you cannot be affected for the decision. Then it's like, I respect everything and everyone. Then it's like, that's fine. Then it's like, but I want to keep working with myself. Then yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I never had the target to become full time, or my target was to invest in football. I mean, coaching football is my passion. Then when you realize what is your passion, what you want is to invest as much time as possible. Then I wanted to invest, let's say, from 24 hours a day, then sleeping, let's say, 7 or 8. Then I wanted just to invest 16 hours or 17 hours per day to football, to coaching football, because it's what I really love. Then because of this, I left the bank and I moved to Finland first. Then at the end, it's like you need to, until I had this chance, I was working in a bank thinking how to provoke all this, but in things that I control. I make a lot of mistakes investing time and energy in things that I cannot control. And that's when probably the failure comes to you, and it's like, oh, it's when you realize made a bad decision, or the timing was wrong. And it is about me real, and it's like, no, probably no. Then it's like, you cannot control this. That become one of my mottos. Then control what you can control.
Sir Alex Ferguson tells his former players when they go into coaching not to choose the club, to choose the owner, one that shows stability, forward thinking, progressive. But in reality, for the vast majority of us, we will have to take jobs that the situation is not perfect, and we'll have to go into jobs in tough conditions. How do we manage, or how can a young coach manage taking an opportunity with, like, oh, this is just a disastrous situation, stay away from it?
Well, that's a different answer from today's Cristian than probably 20 years ago Cristian, no? Then it's like 20 years ago, or let's say 15, 10 years ago also, I was thinking like, look, you need to be much more selective. And then it's like, you need to, no, I'm this kind of coach, then I want, it's like having probably high standards. And again, you're wrong, because you're trying to control something that it's completely out of your sight. Then now, answering this question that I think is really interesting, I would say it's your chance. Then whatever it comes, it's your chance. If you want to coach football, you need to deal with a lot of things. If you have just the luck to be only a football coach and thinking in football, that's fine. But football wise, how everything is built, you need to manage footballers, and behind every footballer you need to manage people. You need to manage a staff, and behind each member of the staff you need to manage people. Then at the end, it's a human resources department where also you've got a weekly, monthly, yearly targets that you need to fill. And don't forget that sometimes, different than in a company, also you've got people outside paying to see how you're doing, and how the team could perform. Then take the chance always. I mean, you have to be brave. And then it's like, honestly, how many, you know probably better than me, but how many forward thinking and long term projects, well established, are today in the world, in federations or in clubs? One thing is what they can sell to you. I've listened long-term projects a lot. It's like, I've listened. The songs are really nice. The music is really nice, but when it becomes to play, no one knows how to play any instrument. Then that changed a little bit the panorama. Then it's the scenario. Then it's like, that's nice, but then it's like, get the chance. Then it's like, you need to evaluate. You cannot think like it will be wrong for my profile, or it will be like, it will not be, it's like, no. Then it's like, okay, what's the scenario, what they're asking me for, why my profile, they think that they fit here, why, what they are trying to sell, what they are trying to, how they are trying to convince me. And then it's like, that's fine. And then it's like, okay, and the reality, no. But if you wanna coach, you will get the chance, and you will just adapt, accept, and then start to work as soon as possible. I think that, because like you said, not being a lot of opportunities, we are a lot of coaches, and not being a lot of opportunities at any level, not only pro level, of course, then it's like at any level, you want your spot. I've been 1 year and a half fighting for my spot, and still I haven't. Then what do you think, that if someone offers me the chance at any level to be back on the grass, I'm gonna say, but I need this budget, or I need these players, or I need, no? It's like, no. Then it's like, I just want to be back there, and I want to start to work, and I want to start probably to realize myself that I need it, and I think I miss it, and I really need it, then it's like, it's like at the end, it's like take the chance. Then it's like, um I don't know, it's like it's something that you don't know if a chance will come, if a better chance will come after the one that you could refuse, no? Luckily there are not so many people, there are only a group of really top coaches that they can just decide where to go. It's not our case. Then again, why we're trying to think in something that we cannot control, and probably it will go against us, because as more time as you are out of the pitch, I think that less you will improve as a football coach also, because at the end is what I said before, Gary, to you, then it is about flight hours. Then as less as you're flying, let's say you get rusty, or you get not out of date, but you know what I mean. Then it's like sometimes it's like you need to be the football, and our methodology and our way of training, it's changing, is changing constantly. If you're not on the grass, it's going to be really difficult that when you go in again, just try to implement something that it was done 5 years ago, and then performance will change because the game is always evolving and always changing. Then I would recommend always, then it's like, if you've got a chance, go for it. Don't be scared. I think that everyone, at one point, we've been wrong, and we learn also from this bad experience. Don't trust anyone with long-term projects in football or in sport mainly, but in football mainly, I would say.
Just on that, then this comfort zone is something that I really want to ask you about. It's something that we always preach to our players about: getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. It's the biggest jargon phrase. You've gone, you've left your comfort zone and going to Finland, going to England. For coaches that are not able to maybe leave the country, that not able to maybe take the next chance opportunity, what are some ways that coaches can, in their own environment, be uncomfortable?
I think that you need to provoke sometimes yourself this uncomfortability. But let me say first that we're really the worst example about comfort zones. Then we are, I think, telling everyone, and like you said, players and absolutely everyone, like, hey, get out, get out, get out. But it's like, yeah, and what about first? We need to recognize, is he or she in the comfort zone? It's like, what is a comfort zone first? And second is like, did you get out before to check also how it works outside this? Because it's sometimes could get really scary. Then it's like, first this, and then it's like, second is, we're always like with a mirror, no, like showing everyone like this is like, how many times as a coaches we put the mirror to ourselves, and we look to ourselves in the mirror. Not often. Why? Because it's really scary, again, because it's like, it's easy to point the mistakes or the possible improvements of absolutely everyone. But then it's like, I can control about myself. Then it's like, I don't want anyone just doing this. How to do it? It's not only to travel, like you really well pointed before. It's not only to travel. I was really lucky, because when I had the chance just to become full time, it was in Finland. And then I arrived to a country that I didn't know nothing about the country. I didn't know nothing about the language. My level of English was, well, today is not excellent, but I mean, it was not it was not this level. Then imagine, then it's like, it was like, whoa, where. And I didn't had, the good point is that I didn't had any expectations. I just landed, and then it's like, let's go for it, like we were talking before about comfort zone. You need to be brave as a coach in a in younger in a young stage, in early stages. Then it's like, we are trying. There's few lines that that you cannot just cross with young players, as a respect, as a, but in terms of methodology and game, you're able to try everything if you believe in, and you're able just to develop and to explain about. Then it's like, why, then it's like, if one day you wake up and then it's like, I want to try this activity, and then it's like, could be wrong, but then don't try to be in panic. Don't get panicked. Then it's like, keep working, and at the end, check why it's not working. Then it's like, I always, usually when someone is calling me just to get an advice about, what about this, what about, I'm the worst, because I will say always, yes, do it, because if you're thinking in this is because it is something that you want to do it, then go for it. If something is wrong, then it's like, that's fine. It will be at in a let's say in a short, mid, long term, it will be beneficial for you because you will learn from it. And it's like you will learn probably how to improve it or how to don't do it again. Everyone is one thing that I used to say, Gary, to the players is like, I'm really obsessed now about the game because I'm having a lot of time about it and I'm checking a lot of stuff and reading and interacting with a lot of people. This game is a mistakes game. One thing that we need to be clear, I used to say to the players, all we are gonna fail in our trainings and in our games. You're gonna fail, you're gonna make mistakes. You need to accept this from the beginning. My idea is to reduce this number of mistakes as more as possible, and during the competition, do it as far as possible from our goal. The same as the coaches. We're not perfect machines. We're not gonna be never perfect coaches. We're gonna make mistakes always. Then it's like I make mistakes every day from Monday to Sunday since I wake up till I will go to bed. Then it's like if we're gonna make mistakes, if we accept this, I think that you lose a little bit this profile of not to, of insecurity, or it's like at the end it's like, hey, jump and go, jump and do it. Face sometimes stuff. I remember that I did some I like a lot to read about psychology, and I think that I was wrong taking my career in terms of financial, but I read a lot, and I really like. I remember that I was working also. I had the chance to work with sports psychology, and then I remember that she just encouraged me. It's like this change room had any issue before, and it's like not really. Then it's like it's a flat changing room, flat team, nice people. It's like you need to provoke a conflict inside. You need to provoke an earthquake. And I said, why? And she said, for two things. First, because you will see the jump that this squad will do. Then in terms of cohesion, in terms of then it's like in terms of team, then it's like that will become a team. And second, because you will learn how to do it and how to deal with something because you have not learned before. And that was true. Then I just provoked some stuff with the key players and everything. And then it's like you need to prove yourself constantly. You cannot be scared of nothing. I would always say like I'm a risk culture addict, and then you need just to be that's to risk and then to fail and to stand up again to be ready for the next chapter. Then I would advise absolutely everything. Like I said, if you don't cross never the respect line, no, with absolutely whoever, staff or players, but be brave, not only with methodology. Try things that it's like, oh, I just think that this could works. Do it, and you will see, you will realize that okay, it's working. No, why? Can it works in another way? Not. Then it's like that was not the best idea. That's the best learning also, because you touch it, you did it. No, is be brave. Be brave. We don't need to. Sometimes it's less in research and probably more in action. No, and but we're like a little bit. Let's say we feel that we really like look from absolutely everyone, and it's like no one at the end, no one will save you, no one will, no worries. Then it's like just thinking yourself, and if you've got good luck and you've got the good staff members to support yourself and between you and everything, go for it. Yeah.
How difficult and how do you implement a possession-based style at the lower leagues with the time with the players, the level of the players, and the level of the pitches?
Before, or mainly when I arrived to England, I think that I realized that that was the main problem, because probably the age of the players and the age of the players were was related to their formation. Then it was something difficult to try to explain them. First, also let me say that as a Spanish and also born in Barcelona, then I've got a problem, because everyone thinks that no, everyone thinks that Cristian will coach the famous tiki-taka profile, blah blah blah, and run those boxes everywhere. And it's like no. Cristian tries to coach and tries to get performance to score more goals than the opponent to try to win. Then for me, the possession is a weapon. is a tool that I use for this target. But for teams that they've not been working in this way, then like I said before, with this kind of players, I was lucky enough that the players were completely like, we're ready for whatever you ask. But anyway, in terms of basics about body shape and everything, we struggle with our center backs. Then it's like, well, I remember also, like, it's like the goalkeeper just opened to one of our center halves, and he had a great diagonal long pass, and he was using it, not being pressed. Then it's like being completely alone. And then my question was like, why you don't travel, no? And then it's like face someone, and before to provoke a 1-per-1 situation, a 1v1 in our own half, is when you will realize that you're attracting someone. Let's see what happens. He said to me that it was the first time that he was thinking something about this, about the game. Then at the beginning, I was like really pissed off because it was like, it's like that's against me. But as a coach, when I arrived home, I was thinking like, that's great. His answer was great anyway because he's an honest one, and also because it gives me a lot of options to work with him and with all the players. Then it was difficult, but I think, let me say, Gary, that it's less difficult every time because it's like the power of social media and also social platforms and the video platforms and everything. It's almost, and we've got football every day on screen. Then it's like, I think that all players have access to. Then probably they don't have access to practice on it, but now their ears are completely full of listening concepts like this. Then we're not as new as we were before, and I think it makes our work slightly easier in this way. Then it's like our words, our terminology is not like a completely new one. But in terms of practice, of course, it was like, I remember that I saw a really huge difference between a player of 19 years or a player of 36. But because the formation that they are having, this 19 years old player is being probably more close to new methodology and listening new things, or then it's like it gets, at the end, you get used as a player, as a human, to what is more trend, then it's something natural. It was difficult, but like I said, probably the worst was to try to translate the message that is like, we're using this to provoke something, to create spaces, to provoke spaces, to split the opponent team, because if the opponent team is not really well worked in low levels, at least here in England, it's much more easy in one way just to try to provoke them with some stuff, but also their own anarchy makes that your defensive shape, it's like, is explosion, is a bomb. You don't know never, because they are really anarchic, and then you don't know never, but they don't have any structure. Then it's like you can have your defensive structure, but then it's like it's not working because the opponent team is like, they are completely. Then it was difficult, but they understood at the end that, like I said, I just want to convince everyone, and how I understand that the possession game is not as a game. Then it's like the possession game is a way just to play football, and to play football, we cannot remember that what we want is, if you're playing competitive football, you want to win, and to win it means to score more goals than the opponent. Then it's like, I'm a little bit again. It's one of the points now that I'm trying just to clarify much more. It's like possession is okay if you've got the players also. I mean, if you've got players that that with less possession, let's put a case, no, like Atletico de Madrid. If you've got great players out of that, they are not they are not comfortable. They are probably, their profile are highest standard profile out of possession, and they win games and they score more goals than the opponent. And it's like, no, they just get rid from the last Champions League champions from last season, like Liverpool. No, then it's like, is it something wrong? The other way is like, you could like less or more. That's fine. No, that's about likes. Then it's like, I'm not going to judge anyone. but it's a lot, and it's really well done. You're getting high performance from the players that you have. That's the target for any coach.
How much is enjoyment and fun at the senior level? We talk about it a lot at the young level, at the youth level. How much at the senior level do you still have to plan the session and make sure that the players enjoy every aspect of it?
Basic, I would say basic, but also I don't find this difficult, honestly, if you involve always the game. At the end, the game is for us the funny thing, the joy thing, the competition. No, it's like for us is the moment. Then as you implement the game into your session, into your structure, into your methodology, as more contextual you do everything and more close to the game. Let's say not close to the game. Let's say as more game you include in your activities, I think that the players will enjoy from the very first minute, and you can work everything related to the game. And again, I work a lot of things out of the game. I mean, in isolated activities or with automatics, with patterns. There's nothing wrong. I believe in some stuff that it worked for me well, and I think it could be working. And then it's like I'm sure that I will learn more. But yeah, let me say that as a progression, as a coach, I'm much more close to the game now than I was 15, 10 years ago also. I mean, at the end, you just think in how you want to implement all your ideas, how to develop your game model, thinking on the game, because at the end you're looking just to get Saturday or Sunday's competition and win. No, that's the game, and the player finds really enjoyable the game. No, any game, I mean, but then it's like we're talking about football, then it's like as more far we are from football in our training sessions, more boring is, and less enjoyable. And then is when you said, can we do this more? And it's like is when probably we start to introduce a lot of cohesive or ludic games or whatever, not just because, well, after that we will do some patterns. Then it's like just try to connect everything that you're doing with the game, and you will not need to do. I had so much fun on when we organize the trainings and everything, and yeah, there's days for everyone. I'm sure that if you're coaching 5 days per week, six, at the end it's like. But at the end, if you're playing games, I remember when I was a child, I was playing games every day, and for me it was the best moment of the day. My breaks, and just someone was throwing a ball, and we were not playing football, we were playing a game, because that was not football, that was like something crazy. But then it's like I said, you want to play a game. When someone is inviting you to play a game, you're like, "Well, let's go," no? Then you feel like your feelings and everything. Then yeah, I would say that I never found this difficult. Sometimes then it's like, and that's probably also a source of conflicts and a source of. But we want to do probably sometimes the nicest activity with a lot of inputs, with a lot, and then it's like, and it's really far from the game. And it's like the activity is really nice, the task is really nice, the exercise is like, as a coach, is like really well done. But you can see that the players is like, let's see when we finish this. You need to deal with this also. Sometimes you need is also. I think it's part of team management, of course, of human behavior management, let's say. But yeah, just game as more as possible. Game.
Question was asked yesterday: how detailed should your game model be? Because sometimes young coaches are thinking that the more you cover every base, the more you run the risk then of creating robots. How do you, I suppose, balance between getting a bit of structure and then that freedom and that flexibility for players?
I split in two. I split the one thing that you need to do, the game model that you need to develop in your office as a coach could be and should be as detailed as you want. Then it's like If you want just to, if you talk about macro, meso, micro principles, it's like microcycles, then it's like go for it. If you use tactical periodization, if you whatever the plan, whatever the structure you want to use, then it's like if you're going to go to detail and then split in 5 moments or split into plus the transitions, then go. It's like that's fine. The problem, I think that the success of a coach comes when you try to translate everything, when you try to cook all these pieces and all these details. You need to cook it and put it on a plate for the players to have lunch, or to have dinner. And then that the plate should be with some carbs, some protein, and some good fat, and also a number of calories, no more than this. Then it's like that's probably the best thing. Then I would say I used to develop a really game model, detailed game models for me, and then it's like, and what will happen when we will play against this, and in a low structure, in a high structure, in a medium structure, and with a score 1-0, with a 1-0 down, with all scenarios that this game allows. The other thing is, like I said about the players, we cannot be. Sometimes I get lost now with my age. I stop sometimes to read and to listen because I get lost. As a Spanish, as a Latin, also we've got a problem that is terminology. I think that the English language hasn't got all the terminology that we've got in Spanish. Probably for the same action, we can say and we can use plenty of verbs and then it's like that's not helping us as a coaches, and that's not helping the players to identify. But also it looks like I said, we're selling trendy stuff, like this is new, no? And it's like, no, this is not new. Then it's like, why we talk about the third man when it appears the fourth and the fifth, it's like, no, it will be always the third then, no? From if you always go back from an action, then it's like, I had a lot of arguments about this because we want to sell so many books or so many videos or I don't know what, and then it's like, look, I mean, it's I think it's worse because it's going against us. We've got plenty of terminology. We need to be really clear. You need to use a terminology for yourself, and then with this terminology bring to the players and then explain them how to read the game. Then it's like how to read, how to understand the game, and how we're gonna work. Just thinking on how to read, how to develop, and then to make your own decisions down there. But then it's like should be the same word, the same idea. Then it's like, and like I said, like a pill. Then it's like we cannot go just with our pockets full of stuff, because the player is like the player. If you want that's like school. Then it's like if one day in school they are gonna throw me everything, I'm gonna get probably one thing from 100. Why in a football coach environment, why in a football training environment, we're trying like to say in an exercise, I set up this activity and then it's like, positive transition, a lot of rules, negative transitions, 2 touches, and then, bidirectional, and then it's like superiorical numerity. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, as a player, it's like, I want to play, I want to enjoy. And it's like, give me few rules, and then it's like, and I want to go for it. Then it's like, why? Then I don't know. You need to, like I said, as a coach, you've got one behind the scenes that, as a, let's say, as a student of the game, then it's like I've got a lot of things, and still today, now I'm obsessed mainly with the spaces, no, understanding the game as a spaces and a game of spaces and a game of mistakes. I'm really like, my brain is going for it, but I never will explain to a player in a training way, just linking what my thoughts. I think it's completely two different ways of. When I was managing an academy, I explained to all coaches, and I think that that's useful for young coaches also. You've got a motorway, no, with 3 different lanes, and then it's like the cars are the players. Then your game model is this big motorway, and you need to realize that you will have players that will go on the left, that will go on the center lane or on the right lane, and then some players will go quicker than others, some players will go slower. Then as a coach, what you need to manage is that no one have a crash, never a crash between them, nor a crash outside. You want all the cars inside the motorway, and at the end to arrive everyone at the same point, no? Then that's a little bit just to kind of to do the summary of a game model. It's like, really, I don't believe in a 300 game model book to develop on a team. If you don't know how to do this, then it's like I would be more happy with a 3 sheets game model and really concrete, really, into detail. But we will do this, and if everything is well done and everything is well work and it works, then develop, and then next step like a B plan, a C plan, or something like this. But yeah, I think I explained a bit these two different sides, no, of the game model. It's difficult for me sometimes.
No, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, we're nearly out of time. I wanted to ask you about kind of your studying the game there. You mentioned your obsession at the minute with spaces. How are you getting information on that? Is it reading? Is it watching? Is it listening? Give us some clues.
Absolutely everything. Like I said, social media, it has made that everyone could have really connections with absolutely everyone everywhere at any time. Then that's true that I become really much more selective in terms of reading, because then it's like, I remember when I started, not so many books of football were sold, and now I think that we've got football books for almost everything, and and every detail. Then I think that you should be really selective, because at the end, if you get a lot of information, but you don't filter, at the end it's like I said before, probably they are saying the same. You're reading something that is the same but with different words, and you need to build yourself as a coach, and you need to use your own vocabulary, and then you need to use your own terminology and your own verbs. Then it's like, if, like I said, if you want to call it free man instead of third man, then happy with and stick with. If you know how to explain this to me or to any player, then that's the word, no, that you know the meaning of each concept. Then I used to read a lot, and I'm reading a lot. I'm much more probably into articles than into books. If you know the right people also, then it's like, if you follow them in any social network, if you have good luck also just to interact with them, I think it's really worth, no. Now with this COVID situation, I'm realizing a lot of ebooks and tasks and activities. And the other day, I'm sometimes like a kind of a hater, because it was like, oh, honestly, then it's like, that's fine to share, it's fine, but take it as a source, as a something that you can think about, create your own concerns, and then develop your own identity. You need to build your own coach. You need to build yourself as a coach. You need to feel, to work. You need to make yourself, and then it's not helping to copy paste. And reading a friend from Spain, Alex Couto, he was saying like, this activity is being built and done for these players at this level, at this stage, at this moment. It doesn't mean that it will work for your under 11's team in this then it's like, and we're looking probably for the same target, and it's like, the formation is not the same, the level is not the same, it's a lot of different, the people is not the same, the players are not the same. Then it's like, and the person behind the play is completely different, and it's like, we need to stop this. To share is okay, but like I said, just to build ourselves into reading. We've got again the same problem now, probably have become about the podcast. Then we've got a lot of podcasts, and it's like, we need to be really selective. And then it's like, if you follow someone, if you know, then it's like, go for it, stick with it, and then start to listen. And then it's like, and from an hour conversation, probably I said a lot of rubbish, but then if you can take few ideas, it will be okay, it will be good enough. Then it's like, that's the point. Then it's like, not anyone has the football truth about everything, nor me. Then it's like, just take few ideas and about this. Today, if someone wants have access to almost everything, the basic that I don't want to close without forgetting this is watch football. As more football as you watch, and not in a quantity side, into a quality way, then it's like, if you can watch one game, sorry, in a quality way, just observing patterns, movements, roles, interactions, and trying to question yourself, like, this is work, this is not work. If you can just then investigate the team that you're watching, and it's like, if you can have interaction with a player, with any member of the staff, and it's like, that's movement, that's how you work, how, if you can make a visit, that's like a pyramid, no. But the main thing is about the game. As more game as you can watch and can understand and can help also to make yourself ideas and to build the big puzzle that as a coaches we are, I think that it's probably the best that you can do.
Wow, what a way to finish it. Cristian, thank you so much. This was
Gary,
great.
it's been a pleasure. Yes, sorry because I spoke a lot about the game, and I'm not coaching. I'm like, like a saucepan boiling, and then it's like when someone opened the lid, it's like boof,